Ladies and gents, welcome back to the FMB channel. I am Sefkin FM. Today we're going to take a look at another tactic. So today's tactic is the Ten Hag. I'm scrolling up so I can actually read it correctly. Ten Hag's incredible quadruple winning 4-2-3-1 FM23 tactic. I've done a lot of different tactics. I love the 4-2-3-1. I love the 4-3-3 formations. That's what I tend to primarily deal with. Just so I can get my own ideas is basically how this whole thing started. But today, Ten Hag has been an interesting development at Manchester United, and it's interesting to see how they've gone through their whole situation. They're still struggling quite a bit, and as a Liverpool fan, I'm not going to talk too much about that. But it's kind of interesting to get into their heads, into their tactics, and see how things are. So we're going to try out a tactic that was created to mimic the Ten Hag formation and format, and we're going to see how they do. Now, I'm not going to talk about the site that I got this from, but I will link to the tactic in the description below. But now, the site that I got this from did do a write-up on this, and they used Man United, as a test. They used Ajax, and they used a team called Harrogate. Now, Man United, obviously you're going to choose them for a Ten Hag thing, for Ten Hag tactic talk. They're usually up now in the top six-ish, thereabouts anyway. With the money they spend, the players, some of the players they have, they should be doing really well. Ajax is already at the top of their levels, pretty much. And then Harrogate actually is, I want to say it's a League Two team, if I'm not mistaken, but they're supposed to be, or the media has predicted that they're going to be 23rd. So they're not doing that well. So it's actually a good test for them. The way I do things in my tactic talks is I take a league, Premier League right now. I take the top team, the middle team, and the low team from media predictions. So we got Man City at the top. We got Leeds in the middle, supposed to be predicted around 10th in the league at the end of the season, and then Bournemouth dead last. Basically what I do is I will plug in the tactic to all three teams. I will tell the teams to only use that tactic when I'm simming through, and I'm basically vacation the entire season. Come back, and here we are. That is how I do all of my tactic talks. There is an addition I did get this year, FM23. Again, not talking about the site that I got it from, but I've never used that editor before, so I kind of wanted to see what it was like. And the FM editor, the in-game editor, it was $8.99. The FMSE was $5.99, and pretty much does the exact same thing. So the added piece that I did with the FMSE app, the editor, is that I basically came in and I made my job unsackable on all three teams. When I tried to do this in the beta period, every time I probably tried 4 different tactics, and every single time I tried, at least 2 of the teams sacked me. So there are probably, once you see the schedules for each team, there are probably times, especially in Leeds, if you take a look at that table, that I should have been sacked, but have not been, and that is the reason why. But looking at this league table, holy cow, Man City, you'd expect to be first. 5 losses, though. That is not what I would expect. The 4 goals are quite a bit down. Points not too bad, 87, but usually they're up in the 80s to 90s anyway. Bournemouth and Leeds have completely flip-flopped. Leeds was expected to be 10th. They are dead last and relegated with 18 points. Bournemouth with 11 points. Now, when I take a look at these tactics, you see a lot of times you'll see who they're meant for. A lot of times they're for elite teams like the Liverpool, Man City types. Sometimes they're for the underdogs. Rarely they're for, a lot of times they're for mid-level, but rarely they're for underdogs. And I kind of want to take a tactic and see, is it really only for one set of teams, or can you do it across the board? In this case, Bournemouth flourished. Leeds did not. And Man City did not do as well as you'd expect them to do. As for the tactic itself, you can see Eric's 4-2-3-1. You have a standard goalkeeper right there. Fullback on automatic, ball playing center backs, or a ball playing center back, central defender there. You have a roaming playmaker combined with a ball winning midfielder. You have an inverted winger. You have an inside forward. You have an advanced playmaker, and then you have an advanced forward. So that is the structure of it. It is a custom style. Attack you with fairly wide, approach play, pass into space, play out of defense, shorter passing directness, tempo is slightly higher, nothing in the final third. If we go into in transition, counter press, counter, distribute to the flanks, and then take short kicks. And if we're out of possession, high press line of engagement, standard defensive line, prevent a short goalkeeper distribution, and trigger press more often. That is what you get with this tactic. Let's get into the schedules and see a little bit closer. So now, as you would expect, you see a lot of green with Man City's schedule. You do see a lot more draws than you normally would, and a couple of losses here and there. This end of September to mid-November, thereabouts, actually end of November, they didn't do very well. Just a handful of wins. Granted, a 6-0 win over Nottingham Forest. Absolutely thrashing right there. But as you continue on, you have a spattering of red, but for the most part, I mean, from the March 11th all the way to the end of the season, I haven't gotten to the final yet. I'll do those in a minute. But all the way through, absolute greens, except for the Chelsea match, but no losses whatsoever. So that's not too bad. I'll go with Leeds next. Holy cow. Basically going with Leeds next just because they were supposed to be in 10th. But my God, I would have been fired so quickly. 2 wins at Nottingham Forest and Brighton. And that's the EFL Cup third round. Who was the other win against? Bournemouth. So against the other team here, they actually won. But man, something big happened. Arsenal, all the way to the end of the season with just, 2 other wins. My God, that hurts. That is tough to look at. And I will say, they're not by too much. They're just by a goal here and there, 0-3, 0-2. But, these last ones, wow, that is hard to look at. Now, Bournemouth's schedule, a little bit mixed in between. They did not end the season very well at all. A couple of the smattering of greens here and there, but really mixed into the reds and yellows. They had one section here with 4 games in a row as wins, but here, I mean, from September all the way to the beginning of November, unbeaten, which is nice. But then, wow. Yeah, that's tough. If we look at, so the way I also do this is, since I'm doing these 3 teams together, I look at them side by side and how do they stack up against each other. You can see Bournemouth losing to Leeds away, losing to Man City away handily, 0-4. But then Leeds United winning 1-0 at home, and then Man City losing again 0-3. If I go to Leeds, and I go to the schedule, you can see Bournemouth 0-1 win at home. That's the only one. Man City 1-4 loss at home. Man City 1-5 loss away from home. Bournemouth 0-1 away from home. So overall, a very interesting season for Leeds. Sadly, they are going down handily. Competition-wise, you can see FA Cup, they're knocked out by Preston North End in the 3rd round. That is a tough loss. Again, a Carabao Cup, 4th round by Blackburn Rovers. If I go to Bournemouth competitions, you can see knocked out by Fulham in the 3rd round. 3rd round was a doozy, apparently. 3rd round by Arsenal. And what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to sim to the end of all the cups and everything for Man City, and we'll see how they do in the competitions. Here we are on the 11th of June, 2023. Let's look at Man City's competitions. You can see UEFA Champions League, they crushed PSG 5-1, winning the competition for the first time ever. So the FA Cup, they did find themselves runners-up. I'm not sure to whom. We'll have to see about that. Tottenham Hotspurs knocked out in the corners of the Carabao Cup, winners of the FA Community Shield. So right now, 3 complete trophies for them this season. I will say, even with only 87 points, it's still a very successful season for them. I know that there's a lot of things that they would, if this was real world, that they would talk about and try and get better. But overall, 3 trophies is a pretty fantastic season, no matter what, and no matter what team you are. So just to look at the FA Cup, they did get beaten by West Ham in extra time, 3-2. So that's one that they could not win, but came really close. That is crazy. But if I look at the Premier League, just to see who wins out on stats, you can see Holland with 32 goals. Actually, that's lower than a lot of the tactic tests that I've done. 846, however, is one of the highest. That's insane. Assist, Bernardo Silva with 12. Player of the match, 12 with Erling Haaland. Ederson gets 14 shutouts. And then both yellow cards. I mean, that was a yellow heavy tactic for these two teams. Lerma with 18 and Tyler Adams with 17. So overall, Man City absolutely dominating as usual. But it's interesting. A lot of the tactics talks that I've recorded so far and are getting to edit to post this week and next. You'll see a lot more of the three teams in these goals, average ratings, and assists and things like that. So it's kind of interesting to see only one team completely dominating, especially when Bournemouth has done so fantastic. But the one other thing I want to take a look at before I depart is these team overview stats. Man City most goals 101, Man United as the second at 81. Obviously, this tactic is geared for Man United. So if Man City weren't so dominant, I mean, look at that. Most points per game, 2.29. Most goals, 101. Fewest shots against, 335. Most shots for, 826. Most possession, fewest conceded. So, I mean, they are all over here. Games without winning leads. Damn, that really hurts. So that is a tough one for Leeds. But again, this is geared towards Man United. So if I wasn't simming through this and Man City was able to do their own tactics, who knows how Man United would have turned out. It could have easily been just a swap around. And then Liverpool coming in third with 79. Bournemouth with 59 in the top 7. So not too bad for Bournemouth, I will say. If you're Bournemouth, if you're a relegation level team, this might be something to look at. I'm sure there are other better candidates for tactics that I will be looking at in the coming weeks and months. But for right now, it's not a bad place to start. If you're Leeds, however, get as fast away from this as you possibly can. Find something else no matter what. But anyway, that is it for me, Seffian FM for the Football Manager blog channel. Thank you as always for watching. If you have other tactics you want me to test out, please let me know in the description below. If you want any other videos that you want me to highlight, let me know and we'll see what we can do. So anyway, that's it for me, Seffian FM. Thank you as always for watching. Take care and enjoy.